Welcome one and all to the final race of the week in the Asia Cup. We're here for the C5 category at Australia in Albert Park, and we're just waiting for the first car to come out on track. Of course, the C5 new to Racing League Hub for the Asia Cup, previously only having 4 divisions in Season 6, but I'm sure the action here tonight will follow that of the previous 4 rounds. Of course, 3 of the winners in C1 to C4 starting at the back of the grid, so we could see another surprise here tonight in Albert Park. See who is out on track at the moment. The first car out on track looks to be the Alfa Romeo of Durant. He's just making his way through the first sector. We'll see what tyres everyone is coming out on at the moment. So everyone's at the moment seems to be out on softs. So assuming we have a dry race, the main strategy sort of is soft to hard, or if you want to risk it, soft to mediums. We'll see if anyone starts on the medium or hard tyres. In the top 10, of course. So everyone seems to be coming out on track now. We only have 5 cars in the pit lane at the moment. There's a big train at the moment in Sector 1. We should be expecting in the low, sort of in the 121s, definitely I think it's today. Running wide already, Alfa just saving it on the exit of turn 12. And that, of course, is one of the big points on the track. It's very easy to lose it coming out of turn 12. 11-12 chicane so quick. And who now is the first car? Looks like it's the Williams of Cranky Bot as the first person to set a lap in the C5 this evening. We'll follow him as he goes running wide. They're into the wall, and that's front wing damage for the Williams. And the McLaren of Julianos Nova is be right behind him already, and he invalidates his lap to start out, so we're going to have to go back to Durant, who is surely now the first car to set a proper competitive time, with the Williams taking that front wing damage and the McLaren invalidating. And we'll see how he gets on as the McLaren gets out of the way now as he goes through the fast right-hander of turn 5. And now into the quick corner of 6, and the 7 follows straight away, and we run towards the chicane of 9 and 10. The Williams just about getting out of the way there, and he's now the lead car on track as he makes his way through the tight chicane. Very technical part of the lap. Now as they goes into the tricky chicane, keeps it together just about on the exit, holds it, then needs it on the formation lap now, coming towards probably the second hardest braking point on the track, down into 4th gear. Yellow flags about, but everything seems to be okay for Durant in the Alfa. Everyone's still on soft compound tyres, just getting it slowed down enough for turn number 15 and running towards the line now. DRS open to maximise everything. We've got a first retirement of the session as well. One of the Ferraris seems, there's a 124.4. One of the Ferraris seems to have made an error. Not sure where about this in the, just about missed it. Toro Rosso's coming up to it now. And so yeah, on the left hand side there, as purple in the first sector goes DJ Mikey 27.5, but the Ferrari will be starting at the back as things stands. As the McLaren of Law goes in fastest with 123.5 times now tumbling Mercedes and Magic Poop Cannon in the 1 minute 22s. A good lap from him to go half a second ahead of Bogorovsky in the Red Bull. And now coming into the fast chicane, DJ Mikey, as Ross has been disqualified for blocking in the pit lane as well. So a very hectic moment or two. Magic goes onto provisional pole for 1 minute 22.5. We'll see what the Toro Rosso driver can do as he comes now into the fast 14 in 6th gear, holding the speed throughs. Car just ahead, just about keeps away. He's going to have to take a compromise line and runs wide, and that will surely be his lap. Done and dusted, makes a small spin as well. As the Williams of Kayla, apologies for the pronunciation, is going to come now into the middle sector and comes now on the run towards the tricky chicane. Very, very tough part of the lap, especially when you're pushing on a quali lap. And he seems to be okay as things stands. carrying the speed through. Now DRS open, of course, one of the 3 DRS points on this track, so that could be critical in the race, assuming it is dry, of course. Down into 4th gear now. Getting a little bit wide on the curb, but getting away with it. There's currently Mercedes 1-2 at the top at the moment. Nelboy went into P4 as well in the Racing Point. A good lap from him to get in there. And whereabouts is Kayla going to put his Williams? And even Williams haven't set a time at the moment as he runs towards the line in overtake mode. And he's going to set 1 minute 24.8, and that puts him up into P10. Fractions ahead of Flora Canet in the Ferraris. He comes into the pit lane on this lap. He's setting a lap. Durant is improving in the first sector, 2.5 tenths up on his first sector time. So he is taking quite an aggressive line through the chicane, keeping it clean now. He's opens DRS. You've got a yellow flag in sector 1. It is just a Red Bull getting out the way. He should be fine. There's a car in front of him, but the gap could be big enough, so he's not compromised at all as he comes through the final part of the lap in the final sector. Down into 15 and takes the fast turn 16. You want to carry as much speed as possible, running over the curve to carry the speed. DRS open now as he runs towards the line, and this time is going to put him to an improvement of 2 tenths, and he's into P9. Stayed in P9, but an improvement nonetheless. Shade at the moment 6 tenths up on his first sector time, so finding a lot of time as the Renault driver now as he runs towards turn number 13. DRS, of course, dropping it down into 4th gear and making the run through the final couple of corners, trying to carry as much speed as he can. He's nobody in front of him, so he's got a clean run of things. Making big improvements is the Renault driver, and what can this time do for him? Could he jump into the 1 minute 22's? DRS open out towards the line, and where is his time going to put him? Just outside the 22's, 4/10 improvement does put him up into P4, a 10th ahead of the Racing Point of Nelboy. Probably was just getting out of the way there, who is on a flying lap at the moment. Shayman, is he going again? No, taking a cool down lap into the pit lane. So everyone seems to be no flying laps on it at the moment. Everyone just taking a cool down lap or an in lap to the pit lane, ready to go again. Nova starts his flying lap in the McLaren. 8th gear, hard braking point down into this more technical part of the first sector. He comes through another tricky corner, turn 5. You don't get on the apex too much on the inside, because that can definitely cause you to spin out. And it's purple in the first sector for the McLaren driver, a low 27.182. And now can he keep the speed throughout the middle sector? A pretty straightforward middle sector, apart from this tricky chicane, of course, and he navigates that pretty well, running wide, as close to the wall as you dare. Just scrub as little speed off now, hugging the corner to take the shortest run towards the very fast chicane. Down into 6th gear, and he's got a good run through here. And now with DRS open, he's got enough ERS to play with as well, so that shouldn't compromise him. And into the braking zone, down into 4th gear, carrying the speed through the corner onto the apex. And he's going to take turn number 14. Of course, this is where the detection point is for the first 2 DRS zones. That could be very important in the race if cars are close enough to each other. And we got retirement from, let's see who that was. But he runs towards the line now. Julianos Nova. The time is going to put him in P5. So 1 minute 23.2 for him. A good lap. And the other McLaren's gone fast in the middle sector. 5/10 up on his times. Law 1609. Maximising 7th gear to full content there. Down into 3rd gear. Getting a bit acceleration. Better acceleration, I should say, out of here. And where is this time going to put him? The 2 Mercedes drivers still lead things at the top. And now running towards the line. An improvement from DJ Mikey in the Toro Rosso. That put him up into P4. But we're up into P4 on board Laura into the 1 minute 22. So 1 minute 22.7. But Mikey just set an improved lap time in the Toro Rosso. 122.8 to put him up into P5. And it's in the Haas. Lurks in the Haas. It does improve into the 1 minute 22s, tantalising close to the McLaren in front, but not quite on this occasion. Mikey just getting out of the way. Nova a little bit down on his current lap. The Racing Point up on his time fractionally in the first sector. Not been on board with the Racing Point just yet during this session, but we'll see how his middle sector fares as he flying down towards turn number 11. Also starting to be 2/10s up now, so he's finding time in the middle sector. And what was his last sector? He's currently down in P12, so we're looking to jump up and maybe gain a few places into the top 10 potentially, as Laura's retired in the McLaren, coming out of the turn 11-12 chicane there. We're going to stay on board with the Racing Point. We'll be looking to maybe just edge into the top 10. That might not be a benefit here though, because of course tyre wear is a big factor here at Albert Park. They're starting on the fresh tyres, of course, as he does improve into P9, 6/10 improvement, so good lap from the Racing Point. See who is on a flyer at the moment. Kayla's gone off a little bit there. He should be fine to carry on. A few cars on their out laps, getting ready to start. Another fly. Is Bogrovsky on a flying lap? He looks like could be at the moment now, the Red Bull driver. He goes down into the technical part of the first sector. You've got turn 3, 4, and then into the turn 5, keeping away from the curb. They're perfectly just clipping the curb in turn 5. We've got yellow flag in sector 3. A bit of a train just at the end of the lap as the guys get ready to start the lap. 1/10 down on his previous best is the Red Bull driver. Morgan do. The tyres have already done 1 lap here, so that could be critical. So maybe he might have invalidated his first attempt. But he now makes the run towards the far chicane. We'll see how he can carry the speed through here as he goes purple in the middle sector, but he's only 300 slower than his fastest lap, so could be looking to make big improvements in the final sector and maybe jump up into P2 as he's coming through the final parts of the lap. Keeps it in sixth gear and now drops down all the way down to 2nd gear there, carrying the speed through the final corner. DRS line is pretty much immediately, and as they run towards the line, what can the Red Bull driver do? The time is going to be a 1 minute 22.1. It's the fastest lap, 4/10 improvement overall, so massive gains in the final sector for the Red Bull man, and that puts him on provisional pole. And will the Mercedes respond? His Magic Poop Cannon loses the rear a tiny bit there, and he's going to be fractionally behind his first sector best. Can he get the better of Mad Chip, his teammate, in this session? We'll have to wait and find out, see what his middle sector time is going to be. Carrying good speed through the middle sector chicane, and now as he runs towards the timing line, and of course the infamous far chicane here. And we'll see also pushing as much as he can towards the end of the lap. We'll cut straight to Cranky as we finish this lap with the Mercedes, because he's a man who currently has not set a lap time so far, but he does duck into pit lane. So we'll flick on to the Williams driver as he comes now through the first sector. Now flying towards, see what time is going to be. 27.7, so it's a decent middle sector for the Williams drivers. He's got a bit of traffic to negotiate in front of him. And braking hard now for the tricky chicane now. Now it's the run. You've got a lot of time to think about the far chicane, so it almost makes it harder, if anything. We'll see how Cranky Bot can do. He's carrying good speed for the Williams driver, getting off that, avoiding that inside curve on the exit of turn 12, and now running. He's got a car in front. Hopefully that Renault should be fine for him. See what Cranky can do. He's running a little bit wide onto the gravel there. That could compromise him a tiny bit. The Williams driver trying to jump up from P15. Will he break into the top 10? DRS open now, running towards the line. Everything turned up to the max. The time puts him, he jumps his teammate and goes into P14. maybe not quite enough time for another run. Seems to have backed off this lap as well, so could maybe be waiting to do another lap. As Nova's gone up into P2, good lap. P3 I should say, good lap from him, just a jump. Magic Poop Cannon. The top guys seem to be in the pit lane, so they have to get out pretty quickly if they want to set another lap. As Mikey looks to go again in the Toro Rosso. We'll see what his first sector time is going to be. Avoiding that inside curb, of course, and not having any dramas on the outside curb. 2/10 improvement from the Toro Rosso. Also got Nailboy in the Racing Point just about to. He's got almost a bit of a traffic, and Broke Gorilla has compromised Mikey there, I think, a little bit. He's going to carry on with this lap. I don't think the Alpha's spotting Mikey behind. And what's his middle sector time going to be? He's 5/10 down now, so unfortunate for the Toro Rosso driver. We'll see how Nailboy does as he comes to the final part of his lap. He was 6/10 up at the end of sector 2, so going well at the moment. Could be looking to break into the 22s. Was very tight in the high 22s at the moment. Now DRS towards the line, and what will happen for the Racing Point driver? So 1 minute 23 just outside, and that puts him up into P9. It's the Racing Point 9th and 10th at the moment, as Bogrossi and Madchip both on the outlaps at the moment, so they'll be looking for a last push towards the line. Magic Poop Cannon also about to start a flying lap, and we'll see as someone has gone off at the final corner. Now it looks like could be the Alpha of Broke Gorilla, not quite being able to set a time in the session so far, so I think that is his qualifying over. What's Magic Poop Cannon's first sector time going to be? He gets into the 26s, massive improvement of 4/10. What a first sector for the Mercedes driver. 4/10 up, and he'll be looking to make a challenge at the top. Yellow flag, and it's the other Alpha of Durant who's had a drama coming out of the infamous 11-12 chicane. And he's hit the wall on the right hand side. We might just see him staying on board with the Mercedes. Purple in the middle sector, I should say. Almost 8/10 up now. See the Alpha there just disappears on the right hand side, but this could be almost a certain provisional pole lap if the Mercedes can keep it all together. 20 seconds left in the session, so as Bogrossi just crossing the line now, he's going to get in, and the Mercedes driver of Madchip. We're going to be on board with Magic Poop Cannon and see what he can do in his final attempt here. The flag will come down in 5 seconds time. DRS towards the line. What is this time going to be? And it's a 1 minute 21.4, a second improvement. Fantastic lap from the Mercedes driver. And can Bogrossi or Madchip respond to that? One behind the other as things stand. How is the Red Bull driver's first sector time? Is it an improvement of 2/10? An improvement of 2/10, so that is good news for him. Madchip in the first is a 4,000th down, as the Williams looks to have dropped it coming out of turn 5, and he is retired. Currently in P15, but we're flicked between the Mercedes and the Red Bull, as most of the drivers seem to have finished their sessions now. What's the Red Bull driver going to do? 3/10 improvement at the moment. Another purple sector, as well as there's another car. The Renault of Shade has had a misfortune coming out, and almost joining him there was the Mercedes of Madchip, but holding it together now. And what Calga's Bogarossi's final sector now. Pretty much the last 2 laps, I think, of quali we're going to see, and this could be an ascent on pole. DRS towards the line now. How will the Red Bull driver fare? Surely an improvement, and it's a 1 minute 22.0, just missing out, and as Madchip pulls into the pit lane, so maybe a small error wanting to save his tyres. But I think that is everybody done for the qualifying session in the C5. And a good qualifying session was a very impressive time from Magic Poop Cannon. 6/10 clear of the Red Bull behind. But definitely a magic lap as the Williams goes into the wall there. But a magic lap from the Poop Cannon to put his Mercedes on pole. Bogorowski in second in the Red Bull. Madchip in third. So good showing for the Mercedes drivers. And we'll run through the grid as we're going to get racing. Be interesting to see what the conditions are. Of course, Australia, having shown us in the past the ability to have the odd spell of rain. So maybe some of the guys were running wet setups. We've got quite a competitive grid here and a lot of battles to be decided out on track now. And 29 laps we're going to have around the Albert Park circuit. The 5.3 kilometre circuit. And 3 directions as well should mean overtaking should be aplenty here. And it should be quite easy to follow even in the dirty air. We got a good showing on the stream as well, so hopefully we can bring the best of the action for everybody here this evening. As the main strategy, I think everybody qualifying on the softs, everyone in the top 10 will be starting on the softs, but we might see some alternative strategies from cars outside the top 10 who can start, of course, on whatever tyre they want. The main strategy normally here is either sort of soft to hard, or if you want to risk it, soft to medium. It is normally a one stop, but of course any rain could throw a spanner or two in the works. I was just waiting for everyone to decide their strategy. Of course, fuel loads they want to carry into the race. Need to think about how hard they want to push the engine. Of course, that determines how much fuel they're going to use as well. Because you don't want to carry, you don't want to over carry, but of course you want some to be able to attack with. Just waiting for the last few drivers to decide their strategies, and we're ready for the formation lap here. So on pole we have Magic Poop Cannon setting that magic lap. In second place we have the Red Bull of Bogrovsky. In third place it's Magic in the other Mercedes. Good qualifying for the Mercedes team. Julianos Nova in the McLaren in P4. His teammate just behind him, Law, in P5. Larux in P6 in the Haas. DJ Mikey in the Toro Rosso in P7. Shade in the Renault in P8. Nailboy in P9 in the Racing Point, and just behind him is his teammate of Ralph. The first person outside the top 10, interestingly, starting on the medium tyres there, is Florica Onat in the Ferrari. So it's the first person going for an alternate strategy. Behind is Waza in the other Toro Rosso, starting on softs. Durant in the Alfa on softs. Cranky in the Williams in P14. P15 is Kayla. 16th we have Dan 99, the other Ferrari. So both Ferraris going for alternate strategies, starting on the hard compound tyres, looking to run long into the race. Brett Gorilla on the softs as well in P17. Cassell in 18th in the other Haas, and rounding up the field in the Red Bull is Ross, another driver on the softs as well. As they're just coming into the final sector now, so hopefully we will be getting going very, very soon. And a very tricky turn 1 to negotiate, of course, is not a slow turn 1. It sort of normally requires quite a flowing line, so can be very difficult, as of course we've seen in the past and of course in the real life races as well. Because the cars come onto the grid as they get ready to start this race. I'm sure what is going to be a cracker. All the other races have been this week, so I'm sure the C5 will be no different, as we're almost waiting for the last few cars to come onto the grid now, as Ross is the last car to round that final corner. We'll be slotting into his grid slot very shortly indeed. But as Magic Poop Cannon looks to lead them, he'll be hoping into turn 1. But I'm sure Boxy and Magic will have something else to say about that. As we get ready now, you can see the cars revving their engines. We're about to get racing here in Albert Park. As the lights are coming on now, we have 2, we have 3, 4 and 5. And it's lights out and away we go in the C5 in the Asia Cup, and it seems to be a good start for Mercedes. There's a Renault going off already, collected by, I think it is the Alpha of Ralph. And coming now through is the safety car already, so a very hectic start, and I apologise, it was the Racing Point is out there, and Durant managing to carry on only with minor front wing damage, but surely going to come into the pits after that. And it's been a shocking start. There's contact on the under safety car as well. And there's a 5-second penalty there for Law, who has lost out massively in this opening lap. Dropped down 9 places, unfortunately for him, but a lot of drivers managing to make up positions from others' misfortunes. Will we see anyone come into the pits at the end of this lap, take advantage of the safety car? But a mighty crash, I'm sure. Some people just crossing lines, and that resulted in, well, yes, a smashing start for, unfortunately, the Racing Point. Very unfortunate for him indeed, after a good qualifying in the top 10, but Florica, I apologise, the Ferrari at 8th on the medium tyres, having a good start, gaining a few places, and on the medium tyres that was important, getting ahead of some of the soft runners for this race. The sky looks pretty clear at the moment, so we should be looking at a dry race as things stand. But an unfortunate collision at the start leaves the Racing Point of Ralph out, and now Nailboy is the solo Racing Point. We'll see if anyone comes into the pits. It looks like everybody is staying out. Now we've got one person in the pits, is Wazza in the Toro Rosso. I think people might be joining him at the back. Yeah, we've got a few guys at the back joining the Toro Rosso man. Yeah, we got Cassell in the Racing Point. There's a 5-second penalty for Ross speeding in the pit lane. Ross comes in as well as Durant, all potentially looking to get rid of a bit of damage and put on a fresh set of boots to get really racy at the restart. We shouldn't be long under the safety car. The pack already bunched up pretty much, apart from the guys in the pit lane, but they should catch up pretty quickly. Might just have one more lap under the safety car. That will definitely help the tyre wear in the first stint. Of course, something that can be one of the big factors here in Australia, tyre wear. As we still sat behind the safety car after a crazy start, and see some of the guys in the pit lane. Durant come onto the hard, so could be looking to run to the end. Ross and Cassell both going back onto soft, so we're definitely looking to double stop in this race, and Waz has come onto the mediums, so could be looking to try and utilise the grip at the start and maybe just try and make them last towards the end of the race to hold on to that track position, or could be going for an aggressive 2-stop. Who knows? We'll have to wait and find out. Safety car not coming this lap, because I think the message comes up as you go through 11-12. We've got exceeding track limits penalty, so that's unfortunate for very harsh 5 seconds exceeding track limits, but under the safety car that could be costly for the Alpha. What a start it was. The front guys got away absolutely cleanly, so already under safety car conditions. So at the front it was pretty much plain sailing. I think everybody kept their positions. Yeah, the top 4 keeping in line in order. Larocque's in the Haas staying in P6. A Shade comes into the pits now, and he gets a penalty for his troubles as well. He looks like he's at the hard tyres he's going on to, so he's going to serve that penalty already. And another driver that's going to run to the end on the hard tyres. So he's going to take advantage of the safety car. Would have been better to do it last time round, but at least he's got the freshest tyres out of everyone. See Law, one of the drivers losing out massively. Could have got, I think he got involved in that first, well, can't even say corner. They didn't make it to the first corner. The first, well, not straight off the line collision. Surely we're getting racing at the end of this lap, because we won't have DRS for quite a few laps, but some drivers making massive gains out of this. We got Kalal and Williams and Bro Gorilla both going up 6 places. Great start for both Williams, up 10 places combined. And DJ Mikey also coming up into P5, starting in P7. We'll see. So far it's been a great race for Magic Poop Can, the Mercedes, holding on. Well, I should say a great run to turn 1 as he held on to the lead. And Bogrossi just holding off Mad Chip as they went into turn 1. Luckily for them, none of them combining corner. The safety car is in this lap, so we're going to get racing at the end of this lap, and that should be quite an aggressive start. Of course, pushing for the first time since qualifying at the start of lap 4. As Magic Buchanan starts to slow down the pack to let the safety car get away, and when will he go? Keep a close eye on him, and I'm sure Bogusy is watching him intensely, waiting for the Mercedes driver to go. As he comes around the final corner, he looks like he's going now. He's going now just on midway through that final corner. It seems to be a great start for him. Bogusy just a little bit behind. And it looks like Julianus Nova's got the best start of everyone. Having a look at the inside of Magic, but not quite on this occasion, as they all keep in order at the things stands. Medium runners holding on to his position. Looking further back in the field. Alpha can great speed through there, and he could be looking for a run into turn 3. Not quite on this occasion. Everybody in pretty much in order, but the Ross having a look at the inside as the Toro Rosso goes in deep of Wazza and having to run onto the gravels, and that's going to be annoying for him, losing the position to Ross. And side by side, as the Haas goes past the hard running Alfa Romeo, just slots behind him, but at the front was still the top 5, still as they were. DRS not enabled just yet. The two Williams very close on track as well. And Ross looking to make progress on these soft carbon tyres, almost all over the back of the hard runner, not quite getting the tyres up to temperature. Maybe having a look into the inside of turn 11, not quite, and he's going to have to maybe have a go as the Alpha's gone off in front of Boat Gorilla, losing it on the exit of turn 12 now, as Ross is having a look on the Ferrari as Durant has retired now as well, taking a DNF. Unfortunately, not good evening for the Alpha driver. And that's another safety car. Another safety car. As I think Durant crashed in the same place as teammate did on the same lap. So we've got another safety car. It's into the pits. Comes Magic Buchanan, pulling the trigger really early and going onto the almost the medium side there, but it comes onto the hards and gets out just ahead of DJ Mikey, who's coming into the pits as well. So that's going to be a very interesting strategic decision for the Mercedes driver, giving up track position. It seems everybody coming to the pits now for, they are medium tyres, just checking if they changed just a moment ago for the Mercedes. Ross coming in for medium, so everyone looks to be running towards the end of the race. As the mediums, or are they softs? Can't quite tell. They are softs. Look like mediums for a second, but they are softs. There's penalty for Wazza for exceeding track limits. But very interesting strategic decision. Very, very interesting strategic decision, I should say, for Magic Buchanan. Of course, if the safety car comes in, maybe at the end of the next lap, so start of lap 7, he can definitely go to the end on the hard tyres. No worries about that at all. So he's got a free pit stop. So definitely use the advantage, but doesn't want to get held up in any traffic in front of him. What's it? Even with free DRS, it is hard to overtake around Albert Park. Got to be confident with the move. Half-hearted move will definitely send you into the runoff. We've had most of the race under the safety car at the moment, but the pitting, Magic Buchanan, quite a lot of the guys at the front, Magic Buchanan, Luke and DJ Mikey, the guys involved sort of in the top 7, 8, coming into the pitch, and that's promoted Floricon Nut in the Ferrari, starting on the medium tyre score. So far the medium strategy working well, and of course he can probably run too. Maybe as Magic comes to the pit lane as well now. Of course couldn't pit on the last lap because his teammate comes to the pit, but that surely will drop him as the Red Bull of Ross comes in again, and that will surely drop him down to, well, P15. So that's not ideal for the Mercedes driver, who's going to be a few positions behind his teammate now. And Bogorowski potentially could have gained a net P1 here, because I'm sure the safety car has got to be coming in this lap. Everything is cleared on track. The pack's pretty much all bunched up, or will be, at the end of this lap. And again, promotes the Ferrari up into P4. So the medium tyre strategy here could look to have paid off massively with two very early safety cars. The race point of Nowboy also having a great start as things stand. We'll check out the position changes yet. So the whole top 6 making up places. The 2 Williams drivers had a fantastic race so far, keeping out of trouble. And there's a 10-second time penalty for Leroux. That seems very harsh for under safety car conditions, especially as well. Keeping, I mean, he's still in the position he was. Very harsh there from the game. But Cassell made up a lot of places. As Crankybots had a collision with his teammate. The 2 Williams drivers coming together on track, and that's going to be really annoying for the safety car not coming in this lap. Oh, another lap under the safety car. Not ideal at the moment. And that surely, the more laps we have under the safety car, that will hamper Bogorowski's race even more. He wants to get going now and try and build the gap between him and the 2 Mercedes that have already picked. Oh, safety car is in this lap. Safety car is in this lap. We've got the message now. Safety car in this lap is a very late call from Codemasters, and he's almost going to have to. He's almost still behind the safety car. Very late call indeed. But when will the Red Bull driver decide to go? And he seems to have gone now. Similar place to where we went last. Pretty much was last lap. So far, a good getaway from everyone indeed. 2 Williams very close indeed. The Mercedes of Magic Poop Cannon pulling out massively there. Thought he was about to make a move. Wazza now right on the back as everybody's Crankybots managed to get past his teammate. Up into P5 now goes the Williams drivers. The Williams drivers swap. Having a look now. The Toro Rosso Wazza up the inside of Dan. And Dan's going to hold it around the inside, but the superior grip on the medium tyres from Wazza gets him ahead. And the McLaren of Law looking right on the back of Kalau in the Williams. Cars trying to make moves further back, and the Renault of Shade just about holds ahead of Mercedes now. And Leroux could be looking for trying to find a way past the Mercedes of Magic Poop Cannon. At the front though, they still remain in order. Magic Poop Cannon having a look away past here, but not on this occasion, and going a little bit deep there is the Haas. All over the back on the fresher hards here is the Mercedes driver into overtake. Shade as well trying to hold on to the position. There's a swap out the front. Going off everywhere. There's a car off as well. Crankybot's gone off. Some potential contact between him and the Williams. But dropping right down the order now is the Williams driver. Pretty much no front wing. And contact there in the far chicane. So drama here on the restart again. We were avoiding a safety car on this time around. But yeah, you see it was an incident between him and the Ferraris. Bogorowski sets the fastest lap of the race, which is beaten by Nailboy. And Nailboy could be looking for a move. Trying to find a way past Julianos Nova in the McLaren. And now the 2, no DRS of course this time around, and almost losing it on the grass. Here's the racing point, and he's going to drop back slightly as Magic Poop has managed to get past Shades in the McLaren into turn 1. And no way past at the moment for Law, a little bit too far back to make any moves. But Cassell could be looking for a move down the inside on the hard runner. Very deep on the brakes goes Wazza, but he keeps it on the track. And the cars have to file up in order as they come through the next couple of corners. The top 3 have managed to get away. There's double crash, and Dan is out of the race. And of who was that as well? It was one of the Williams, I think. It's gone off. Was it Toro Rosso? It was a Toro Rosso of Wazza. Unfortunately for him, Matchup's got a penalty as we got a VSC now as well. Double drama as Laura's managed to get past Magic Poop Cannon, who's making good progress at the moment on the hard compound tyres, as long as he's managed to avoid damage from all of the kerfuffles. But coming together between the Ferrari, what seemed to be Crankybot, as he's into the pits now. But it was a double spin for Dan, and then Wazza pretty much synchronised, and that caused a bit of carnage just at the end of the first sector. Magic Poop Cannon all over the back of Law, ready to get racing once again. But at the front, it's been Bogorowski does come into pits now. He's taking use of the VSC, and where's he going to come out? We'll see when the VSC starts to end. But yeah, the top 3 all coming into pits now, taking use of the VSC. And Magic Poop Cannon currently in P8. As we get racing once again, now. So they have got a reduced pit stop, but surely are going to be losing out on the lead now, as Magic Poop Cannon does go past up into P4 now, and he can make progress as Wazza gets a 5-second penalty there. He can make progress. It looks like Ross has gone off. Ross has gone off in the final part, but carries on, stays in the race. And now the Ferrari up into P1, so the medium tyre strategy working perfectly at the moment. Bogrovski's down in P9 and Nova 10th, Nailboy 11th. So I don't think they probably should have stayed out a little bit longer and just pushed on now. Let's come out right on the back, I think. And Mikey's got past Shades, who looks to have made a small mistake. And Bro Gorilla has had an off in the Alpha. Another tricky part, and he's off on the left-hand side is the Alpha. So both Alphas out of the race. And it looks like we're going to get away without having a VSC or a safety car. Let's go out in the house right on the back. He's going to have DRS now, as that's now enabled. Maybe having a run towards turn 13, but looks to be a little bit too far back on this occasion as Bro Gorilla has gone. As he left the session, I should say, from his unfortunate retirement. Bogrovsky onto the back of Shades now. Was a little bit compromised, I think, on the front wing side of things. Just have to tuck in as Larux has lost the position to DJ Mikey. Are both on the same age hard compound tyres, and Cassell on the back of the Williams. Can he be too far back into turn 1, but it's of course going to have DRS on the next run. Florikion at the front, still on the medium tyres, looking to have the best run of things. Magic Poo Cannon still trying to close that gap. We've got yellow flag, virtual safety car. What is it for? And it's Laura has retired from this race. Another victim to the turn 11, turn 12 chicane. And we're going to see him there just on the inside there. Unfortunate for him. McLarens were having a good race so far, but just like no one can really take advantage of his matchup. Unfortunate for him, he's lost out massively in the current phase of the race. Only pitting on the previous lap, so maybe got involved in some of the incidents that we've seen so far. But still, the leader is of course the Ferrari of Farikion. Finally, hopefully got the name right. As DRS is now being enabled. So we're getting racing once again here. As the top three still in order, but all separated by just about less than a second as they come into the final part of the lap. We should just about get DRS. Of course, the detection point is, we've gone through it now, it's just before turn number 14. As Wazza now onto the back of Mad Chip in the Mercedes. As past at the front, losing it is Kalau, and he's going to be dropped behind Cassell just as we left the battle at the front. The Williams drivers have made a small error, and the Haas slips through in the final stages of the lap. Bogrovsky now and Wazza right on the back of Mad Chip, not being able to find a way through and dropping back a little bit just before the DRS zone. Bogrovsky now on the back of Shade. He's not quite going to find a way through into turn 1. He's going to cause now DRS. Got another yellow flag, and it looks like it could be Ross. Ross has retired now in the same point, but we're on board with his teammate Bogrovsky. Look to the outside, but the Renault covers it well. And using those medium tyres, much further 6 laps younger. And of course the softer rubber as well. At the front it's very close as well. As the Haas could be looking for a move into turn 9. And I'm Orthodox overtaking place. Little bit of contact I think between the pair of them, but just about getting away with things. Bogrovsky now still right on the back of the Renault, battling for P7, but surely you can't make a move into turn 11. Florikion covers the inside as they're both, of course, the Haas will have DRS now, but it looks to be a little bit too far. It's a little bit compromised going through turn 11 and 12. Bogrovsky, of course, still right behind the Renault as Magic Poop Cannon's really closed up on P3 as things stands. And coming past now, Bogrovsky, great run through turn 11 and 12, and with DRS he should get the job sealed into turn number 13. And the battle at the front still rages on as the Haas now a lot closer to the Ferrari, trying to break the toe a little bit, covering that inside quite aggressively, and sweeps back to take the racing line. The Haas will have another dose of DRS as they run, and into the pit lane comes Kalau in the Williams. So 10 laps is enough on the softs for him, and Cassell, to be fair to him, is doing a great job, and he's looking for the inside here. Could be just send it down the inside, side by side, and gets the move done. Bit of contact, bit of wheel banging, but gets ahead of the Ferrari. And now for him, it'll be up pushing on as much as he can, trying to extend the stint as long as he dares on those soft tyres. And Kalau looks like to be coming out in P10, so hanging on to a points position as things stand. But if we look at the sort of as Mad Chip sets the fastest lap of the race on the medium tyres, he'll be looking to push on and try and gain as much as he can on Kalau in the Williams. But who can realistically go to the end here? I think we're looking at Magic Poupcan and DJ Mikey, who's right behind the Mercedes driver. LaRousse can go to the end. Bogrovsky should be able to go to the end on those mediums. Shade is going to be touch and go, but I think definitely on the hards he should be able to do it. Nova should be able to go to the end, and so should Nailboy. I think pretty much the rest of the field. So just a few guys at the front who might have to be, who would definitely be coming to the pits again, or for the first time indeed. So I think Magic Poupcan will be resuming his lead, so making the right call. It turns out at the start to come into the pits. I still think Bogrovsky should have extended that first stint to try and build the gap, because he was leading at the front. We'll see as into the pits comes Cassell. Cassell had enough of those soft tyres and is coming into the pits. We'll see where he files out. But taking the lead is Florikion, and it looks like Cassell could be coming out in P9 as things stand. All the gaps pretty much over second. Nova coming onto the back of Shade, having those fresh medium tyres. Shade probably got to think about nursing those tyres if he wants to get them to the end and not make another pit stop. Nova right on the back, closing up with those medium tyres, 6 laps younger. We said earlier is the Mercedes all over the back now of Florikion, trying, of course, much fresher tyre. Well, only 4 lap fresher tyres, but the hard's probably in better state of things as things stand. Running wide there is the Ferrari, and just as a repeat of Vettel and Hamilton in Canada there. But both, I think, avoiding contact, and Magic Poupcan could be looking for a move into turn 13, playing the sensible game. He's going to make a move. Oh, had a look up the inside into turn 12, but not quite. And with DRS, he looks like it might be too far back now to have a go at the Ferrari. Got yellow flag against a virtual safety car. Who is that for? It looks like it's for Wazza in the Toro Rosso. Unfortunately, in the front pack is going to have to sit behind. Surely Florikion is going to come into the pits this lap to take advantage of that VSC and maybe go hard to the end. We'll have to see what they do. Is they're very close at the front. We'll see Wazza has disappeared now on track. Now staying out at the moment is Florikion, maybe waiting for something a bit bigger than a VSC. Magic Poupcan trying to get as close as he can to get going on the restart. Doesn't want to waste any time. As a 3-second time on in C4, LaRousse and multiple warnings. Are we going to get going again? Not quite. We're getting going again. We're getting going again. And the Mercedes just has to sit behind the Ferrari. As things down, the Toro Rosso of DJ Mikey right behind them as well. And of course, LaRousse in the Haas can pounce on any mistakes these front guys make. But the Mercedes is all over the back of the Ferrari. Much more confident on the restart. And trying to find a way past now as they run through turn 8 towards turn 9. Could be looking to make a move into the turn 9 and 10 chicane. In the slipstream, maybe trying to send one round the outside, does the switchback. I'm going to get a better exit here. But the Toro Rosso right behind as well. Mikey looking to see if he can do anything as well. And could be looking for a move into turn 11, 12. Maybe hang around the outside. No, do the switchback. And with DRS, surely now the Mercedes has got to be getting past. As they run towards turn number 13. Going to be on the inside. Sends it down the inside and gets the position. Now it's contact between the Red Bull, the Toro Rosso and the Ferrari, and Florikion drops down into P5. Unfortunate for him. Contact between him and Mikey as Mikey looks to follow the Mercedes through, and that's damage front wing now for the Toro Rosso driver. I wonder if the Haas or the Red Bull have any damage as well, because bit of a concertina as they all came together. But yeah, Florikion into the pits now. Looking to, as LaRousse side by side, contact now again, contact again, and that is going to be him dropping down, and Bogrovsky profiting from this contact. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1 for the Haas driver. Came together with DJ Mikey, looked to go around the outside, but the rim door closed slightly. I don't think Mikey realised he was on his left hand side now, as Julianus Nova's got past Shade for P4. Bogrovsky with the fresher mediums, looking to utilise them at this phase of the race, this phase of their tyre life. Mikey going very defensive into turn 9, and can Bogrovsky profit from this? He'll be in the slipstream as they run through the final part of sector 2, and already looking up the inside now is the Red Bull driver on the Toro Rosso Junior team, but can be compromised into this part. I mean, Mikey went in very deep now, and this is going to be Bogrovsky right on the back of the Toro Rosso driver, looking to go round the outside. With DRS, they'll be battling into turn number 13, but the Red Bull driver gets the job done under the brakes. And up into P2 now, and be hoping now to chase after the Mercedes out in front, who's on the older hards. So that could come to effect at the end of the race. But can Mikey hang on to the Red Bull driver of Bogorowski? Still holding on to a podium as things stand is the Toro Rosso driver. And now boy looking to get on the back of Shade, of course lost that position to Nova on the last lap. Is currently the man with the oldest tyres on the grid. As into the pit lanes comes Leroux, of course, getting that damage with the collision on turn 1 the previous lap, but the Racing Point of Nelboy just has to slot in behind on this occasion. It's a chaotic race so far. We see 7 guys out so far, a very unforgiving circuit at Albert Park. And the Racing Point still frustrated behind as Magic Poop Cannon gets a 5-second corner cutting, gained 1 place. He's out on his own. How did he gain 1 place? Crazy stuff from Codemaster. Bogorowski is already closing up, I can tell, on the Mercedes driver. You almost see it visually, as well as looking at the timing. See, the times are dropping. It was about 4 seconds, already down to 2.7. The Bogorowski looking to make a quick ascent on first place. Now boy's going to get past the Renault of Shade on the exit, running a little bit too wide. There was the Renault, and with DRS he should easily be able to defend that position into turn number 13. The gap now at the top, only 2.5 seconds. And Bogorowski will be looking to close this probably as quickly as he can, while the mediums are still in a good phase of the race. As now it could be Cassell's turn too. He's got to try and close up to the 10-lap older tired Renault. 12 drivers still in this race. He's at the back, Madship. It's onto the back of Clout. Unfortunate for him strategy-wise and just getting involved in incidents. We're starting P3 on the grid. You have DRS, but might just be too far back. Had a little sniff into turn 1, but not quite on this occasion. We're not with another DRS zone. There could be a swap of positions here at 4P8. DRS and be looking to the outside now. Is the Mercedes driver that switches to the inside and diving down on the brakes. He looks to get the higher ground and keep the position in the corner. Nova now right on the back of DJ Mikey as well, looking to battle for that final podium position. The gap out the front now down less than 2 seconds. 1.9 seconds separates them as they go into the fast chicane. Nova's going to have DRS on this lap. But Mikey seems to have a bit more ERS to deploy, and into the corner can't quite find a way past. Medium tyres seems to be better so far in this phase of the race, but still with over 10 laps left to go, I'm sure at the end the hards will be the better tyre, even though Mikey and Magic Poop can have 4 lap older tyres than Bogorowski and Julianos Nova. And DRS puts it up into hot lap and is making massive gains on the Toro Rosso in front. Had to look into the inside, turn 1, but just ducks back at the last moment to keep a good run now towards turn 3. Gonna have DRS once again, keeping it in hot lap mode. And he looks like really a little bit too far back to have a go into turn number 3, and just tucks in behind the Toro Rosso for another couple of corners before he gets a real chance to have another go. But he's all over the back of the Toro Rosso at the moment, clips that inside curve. Very dangerous thing to do, as we've already seen so far today. And Shade's keeping with Cassell as well. So even with the 10-lap older tyres, the Renault driver doing well at the moment. There's a gap now back up to 2.4 as Madship gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Something that could come into effect at the end of the race. We'll have to find out as Leroux sets the fastest lap in the Haas in P11. So could be looking to close in on the final couple of points positions. Losing a bit of touch at the moment is Nova. Running very wide there is Mike, and that's going to definitely compromise him now. And Julianos Nova surely getting the position now with DRS, and he's already ahead of the Toro Rosso driver going into the braking zone. But Mikey now's got to try and stick with him, utilise the DRS around this track, and he'll be hoping that he can stick with the McLaren driver. But back at the front, the gap just over 2 seconds now. Maybe Bogorowski thinking a little bit about tyre, maybe trying to save a bit of ERS, because he's got a lot more as things stand. 60% for the Red Bull, 24% for the Mercedes. So that could be another important thing. If these two do close up together who's going to have the most ERS to play with when they battle. I feel like it will happen at some point. Medium size definitely better off in this phase of the race. We could see a switch towards the end. Mikey's still behind us. Nailboy starting to get involved in the battle for P3 and 4. He's closing in the top 5, not separate too much, so penalties could come into play at the end, but there's still 10 laps left to race. We'll have to wait and see how that evolves. I'm going into the braking zone of turn number 9, still in the slipstream, and we should be getting DRS, called the detection point. Boggers gets a penalty now for warnings at the turn 11-12 chicane. DRS detection point is about now, so I don't know if he's going to have it. He's going to have it, he's going to have it, so just within a second now, and that should help him really close up as they run towards turn number 13. On the brakes, but ERS wise, both of them have not a lot, so going to rely on slipstream and DRS potentially as the racing point, who looks to be in a good phase of the race. Those medium sized definitely holding up a little bit better. It's not a great line for the Toro Rosso, and that could really compromise him. Coming out of the corner, Nailboy right all over the back, goes into the pits, comes Julian's Nova, so maybe trying to get rid of a bit of front wing damage, or go soft to the end now, as round the outside goes the racing point, just tucking in ahead of the Toro Rosso driver. Of course, has that bit of front wing damage that's going to compromise him, as Nova now coming out of the pits onto the softs, and he's going to be racing the Williams on the exit. I think the Williams is going to be very close between him and Claris. Shade also comes into the pits. The Williams looks to sweep around the outside into turn 1 and keeps hold and goes up into P7. But of course, as Nebel's got past Mikey as well, small issue maybe for Mikey there, as Nova came into the pits. So Nebel's been promoted up into the final podium position, as Nova now already onto the back of Kalal. And looking already up the inside into turn number 6, but not quite finding a way past. But you can have that much superior grip on the soft tyres, brand new fresh soft tyres, as they look for a run into turn 9. Could be looking to send it up the inside, and on the brakes looks to get the job done and force his way past the Williams. Good move from the McLaren into P7, and he'll be now looking to do his best to catch up to the Mercedes up the road. The gap now back down to under 2 seconds, and not far away from DRS range, definitely feeling the effects of the slipstream. It must be said as Cassell on the much fresher, as Nailboy comes to the pits as well. So some of the guys too stopping. We could even see Boggins to the pits, but closing up on the Mercedes, surely not. Much better to make them end, as surely Nailboy coming in now for soft tyres. Be racing Nova. Nova's coming out the final corner now, so this will be interesting to see where he slots out into things, as Cassell now into DRS range, and Nova does go past with the fastest final sector. He's going to go past Nailboy. He's also going to lose out to the Williams, just like Nova did on the previous lap. Cassell now getting all close to the back of Mikey, of course having 8 lap fresher hard tyres. The gap at the front still remains at 2 seconds. We should see an interesting battle now between the Racing Point and the McLaren. Have both come onto soft tyres, see how they can progress up the order, as the Rook's now onto the back of Shade as well in the battle for the final points position on the grid. Avoiding that inside curb, risks spinning out wide, but the Haas still staring at that final podium spot, which is currently held by the Toro Rosso. We'll have to see if he can do anything into turn 1. He's closed a lot in this final set. He's going to have DRS, of course, and those fresh tyres you can see just coming out of the corners, much better traction now, and with DRS and a bit of slipstream, surely could be making a move into turn 1. Looks to the inside as Mikey covers the inside, and going into turn 1, he's just going to sweep around the outside of the Toro Rosso driver, and defence of the final podium spot comes to an end. And Cassell moves up into P3 as Nova sets the fastest lap of the race first into the 25.5s now is the McLaren driver, so really going for things at the moment, and we're looking maybe even probably quite good that Cassell got past into the final podium spot, because he wants to try and now make as much progress as he can and avoid being caught by Nova and Nailboy, who's already got past Calais in the other Williams. So making good progress on the softs at the moment. So I'm assuming with their medium tyre strategy, they committed to the 2-stop under the safety car. But Mikey's keeping with Cassell, utilising that DRS, staying within a second of him. And we'll see now how this battle evolves for the final podium spot. I'm sure Mikey does not want to lose out. We got a car off. We got a car off. It's Mad Chip who's lost it. Coming out of turn 12, the Mercedes driver who's not had the best run of things, losing half his front wing, and surely must be coming into the pits. So that's going to promote Nova and Nellboy up on the softs. So one less person to battle for them, and they should get a much cleaner run towards the end of the race. But unfortunately for the Mercedes driver, had a fantastic qualifying, but it's not quite come together in the race. And now Nova has pretty much a clean run at the battle for P3. He needs to just get his head down, be consistent, and you can see in the background now we're promoted now up into P6 as well, and Kalau will be up into P7. And we'll see. Got to say, Magic Buchanan having great pace at the moment to hold off the charging Bogorovsky. 18 lap old hard tyres versus 14 lap mediums. Gap starting to build a little bit. Both of them trading sort of lap times at the moment, keeping very much at a sort of slinky distance, going forward and backward with the gaps between them. But surely at the moment, unless there's any dramas for the top two, they should hold on to their positions. And we'll see further back down the field, Nova, I'm pretty sure that gap was 12 seconds a moment ago, so we'll see coming into sort of the sections where you require a lot of grip, like turn 11 and 12, that gap dropping down now. You can see it just at 8.8. It was at 9, and he's got to just make sure that he doesn't use up too much of the juice in the softs. Of course, Nellboy the same, but he's got 1 lap fresher tyres as Crankybot comes into the pit lane. He's maybe going for a dose of softs to the end to try and steal a fastest lap. See what he can do on the soft compound tyres. Madchip as well in P11 now, so could be looking to catch up to the battle for P9 as LaRoux on the back. Nova sets another fastest lap of the race, another 25.5. So those consistent fastest laps should be helping him. As the gap's now down to 7.9 between him and Mikey, who's starting to lose touch with Cassell and Bogrosi. Also, I think the medium tyres starting to go off now for the Red Bull driver, but the buffer not quite big enough to come into pits, and it's probably worth losing a bit of time, but holding on to that track position here at Albert Park now. And as LaRoux now right on the back of Shade in front. Shade does have the fresher tyres at the moment, so that could help him catch up to Florence. Going in a little bit deep there and onto the gravel, and surely that promotes the Haas driver Madchip Bituvak to capitalise for anything, setting fast his final sectors. So he's on a charge at the moment. Shade drops down after an unfortunate error into the turn number 3, and we'll see Nova now, the gap's 6 seconds, so really making a lot of progress as things stand. You can now see the Toro Rosso in, actually no, it's the Williams of Crankybot in front, but you can see the Toro Rosso at moments now, so he'll be getting even more hungrier to make up the progress gap. Now down to 4 seconds, got into 4 seconds, so he's going to be doing everything he can now in the McLaren, and the back LaRoux in the Haas, closing up to Florikion in the Ferrari. Battle for P8 at the moment, pretty much same tyre life, but Florikion on the hards, of course, after running the mediums for the start, so had to change compound. And Mikey's gone a little bit deep there. The tyres starting to give way, and in sector 3 we've got a slight issue, and it seems to be a slight issue for Florikion. We just left their battle in Shade now on the back of LaRoux, so LaRoux has got past. Cassell gets a time penalty. That has benefited LaRoux in the house massively, as he's moved up 2 places into P8. And the gap now under 3 seconds now in the battle for P4. Can definitely see the Toro Rosso now flying at the moment. Of course, 20 laps old hards for DJ Mikey. It's going to be a mega job for Magic Buchanan, Bogorovsky and Mikey to get their tyres to the end. There's a lot of corners here that require a lot of lateral load on the tyres. So doing very well to keep it in the straight overs. Mikey gets a 3-second time penalty, and that's not going to help him in the battle as the gap is continuing to close. Nelbo, of course, right behind them as well, so he'll pick up any of the pieces that maybe, if the battle falls apart, any pieces from this little puzzle for P4. Mikey dropping back from the Haas driver of Cassell quite a bit now. That is helping Nova. I think it's maybe going to be just a bit too far back to make a massive ascent on the final podium spot, but you never know, penalties could come into play massively at the end. The gap now 1.2 seconds, are almost within DRS range, surely now in the DRS after turn 12. We should have DRS after turn 12. There's a gap now 0.7 of a second. See Crankybot, it's Ghost obstructing Mikey there a little bit, not helping him try and stay ahead of the charging McLaren. Nova surely should be inheriting P4 in the coming couple of corners or a lap or two, I'm sure, because making massive progress with lap times being that much quicker in DRS. But DJ Mikey has been saving the DRS, so he will have something to defend with in the Toro Rosso. We can see struggling through these corners, and all over the back of him now is the McLaren, and looking already up the inside of the Toro Rosso as they run towards turn number 13 on the brakes. He's going to have the much more confidence with the grip, but trying to hang it around the outside was Mikey, but not quite, just making it work, and could be making a move down the inside, fighting back for the position, and there's contact now between the two of them, and off goes Mikey in the Toro Rosso. And the gap behind, he should be big enough to not lose out anymore, but now that's promote Nellboy up into P5, but he tried to do the switch around Mikey to hold on to the position, and unfortunately it cost him. And Mike picks up a bit more front wing damage as well, but that does put Nova up into P4. I don't think Midge didn't realise he was going for a move there. Great switch round from Mikey, even with the 22 lap old tyres, and getting into P4 with his late charge on the softs, and surely with only 3 racing laps including this one left, there's not enough time to catch up with Cassell in the Haas. Of course, in front of them is Crankybot in the Williams, just a lap down as things, but also further back is Madchip closing in massively. He's going to have a Mercedes versus Ferrari duel in the closing laps, gaining for that final points position on track. Of course, everybody wants a point for their troubles, as Bogrovsky holding on to that P2 at the moment, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't got many penalties at the moment, so we'll be keeping hold of P2 at the moment with the gaps in front and behind. But I do my best to try and make that gap at the front less than 6 seconds, just in case the penalties are 6 seconds more for Magic Poop Cannon in front. But it's led a fantastic race, called the strategy perfectly, with the safety cars and VSCs at the start, and has made the hard tyres last very, very well. 23 laps into this race, and Madchip now onto the back of Florikion, and we're closing in as we're onto the penultimate lap of the race. Looks like the top 3 could keep the positions, but the gap as Lurix goes past Kalau into the final couple of corners, so a very unorthodox place to get past, but Madchip now all over the back of the Ferrari with DRS into turn 1. A much confident more run. He's run into the wall and just about avoids the pit lane wall, but massive damage on the front right side as we look at it for the Mercedes driver. Will the soft tyres allow him to get past the Ferrari? Running wide again goes the Mercedes driver, and that could be a massive boost for Florikion's race as they close up into turn 3. And the Mercedes car will now probably be quite a handful, but he'll give it his best shot, I'm sure. Magic Poop Cannon still leading out in front. The gap 8 seconds. As Nelboy is closing in on Nova quite a bit, it must be said. The gap now 2 seconds. It was about 5 seconds a few laps ago. Of course, with that incident not helping out Nova. And he definitely is closing his... The gap between Nova and Cassell was closed quite a bit as well. And could be making a final dash for the final podium spot here. Benefiting from DRS from Crankybot as well. And we could see a final battle as Madchip closing in on Frikion with DRS. I think it looked to me a bit too far back on this occasion, but now the gap is less than a second as Nova's still benefiting from Crankybot's DRS, but of course it's not going to help him into any of the corners seeing where to go, spotting braking points, etc. As Cassell runs onto the curb, we're going to have a final lap battle for the final podium spot here. And Nova now looking for a move, defending all his might in the Haas. Tries to send out the inside, but just a bit too far back. Both of them quite late on the brakes. And holding on to position now is the Haas for P3. The top two still remain as they were. Cassell doing everything to hold in position. Shade has got past Cassell, and who seems to have gone off. The Williams has gone off, spinning coming out of the corner. But Nova now still on the back of the Haas. Nailboy getting involved as there's damage, I think, maybe for Crankybot and the AO. But coming past now on the final lap of the race as the Mercedes comes around the final corner, making a move now into turn number 18. Sends it down the inside. And it's going to be Magic Poop Cannon that takes the win. Has an unserved time penalty, but side by side in the final part of the final lap. And Nova's going to get the position as Bogger obviously comes across the line for P2 as Matchip has got past Florikion as well. And he's looking right on the back of Kalau. Matchip's got past as well. Nova's going to come across the line in P3. We'll see if the penalties, if anything, shapes up. And Nelba comes up to inherits P4 after a penalty for Cassell. Unfortunate for him is defence of P3 came to an end on track, but I think the penalties he would have lost out anyway. Mikey comes home in P6 as Kalau and Magic batting right away, and off goes Kalau on the final lap of the race, losing out on the final points positions is the Williams driver, and he will come home in P11. It looks like on track as Florikion goes miles off wide as Matchip and him come to blows, and spinning as well is the Ferrari. Matchip would come home in P9 and Kalau will get a point. After him going off in turn number 13, both of them come towards the line. Might be out of fuel, and right on the line, Florikion is going to go past, and maybe running out of fuel was the Williams driver. We'll see. He does come home in P11, so unfortunate for him, missing out on the points. But what a cracking race! A lot of incident-filled race. But a great race for the Mercedes driver. Fantastic drive, great strategy calls throughout, and same too with Bogger obviously getting that P2. And a late push from Nova on the soft tyres, managed to work his way up into the final podium spot. What a great race for the first race in the C5 category of the Asia Cup. And the Australia leg surely did deliver. And of course, next week we're going to go to the Sakir International Circuit in Bahrain. But it's 25 points for the Mercedes of Magic Poop Cannon. And picking up the fastest lap as well is Nailboy in the end, so he'll get the extra bonus point. So Magic Poop Cannon in first. Bogrovsky takes up 18 points in P2. Top two remaining where they started. Nova in P3, Nailboy P4, Cassell P5, P6 for Mikey, 7 for Lariks in the Haas. Shea takes up P8. Matchip in the other Mercedes not having the best of things, having to go through the pit lane 3 times, but comes home to get 2 points in P9. Florikion taking up the final points paying position in P10, and Kalau in 11th, Crankybot in 12th, and everybody else unfortunately retired from the race. But a great race from the top two, calling the strategy perfectly, it must be said. And it's going to be good signs for the C5 going into the next race. Great race between everyone, some good racing amongst all the incidents. A very tricky circuit to negotiate, especially in all of the traction zones around here. But that has been your C5 action in the Asia Cup. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed the stream this evening. Of course, we'll see you in a week's time on Thursday night for the next C5 race in Bahrain. So everybody look forward to that. Of course, there's a lot of racing to come. Of course, Sunday and Monday we have GT Sport. And then from Tuesday to Thursday next week, we're racing at Bahrain from C1 to C5. So look forward to that coming up in the next week. And thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next Thursday for the next C5 race.